Hello, welcome to GBS TV Africa. This is The Insight. My name is Eugene Kwach, and of course we have a lot more planned ahead for you in the discussion of today. Well, as you're heading towards 2022, you know that you have to keep up with The Insight because this is where you get political conversations, and of course, and insights that makes you understand politics deeply, and of course, current affairs as well that we discuss here by bringing different stakeholders who will be sitting with us here. Tonight, I'm also having two guests, which I'll be introducing shortly, who are going to help us in the discussion of today. The discussion of today is about the youth. We're focusing on the youth, even as we're heading towards 2022 general elections. Well, even as IEBC is targeting the registration of more than 8 million new voters for the coming general elections, the youth is still the most consequential block in the political, economic, and social sphere. How are they using this numerical superiority to their advantage? Having the youth as the most in numbers, does it have any essence in the political landscape today? Or are they even ready to utilize the large numbers to their advantage? Now, that is a question that we are going to answer tonight with other questions together with my guest tonight. Of course, my first guest is Chabla Collins. Chabla Collins is a political commentator and he's also a youth leader. He's also a member of County Assembly aspirant in Homa Bay County. We have Ekaina Benyo. Ekaina Benyo comes from Turkana. He's a youth leader in Turkana County. He's also a lawyer by profession. And Ekaina Benyo is also a member, is also an aspirant of member of County Assembly 2022 in Turkana County. Well, we're going to start our conversation tonight with corruption. That, of course, has also been a talk of the town when the Pandora Papers were brought by the, talking about the president. Well, to Ekaina Benyo, before we move to the topic of today that is touching on the youth and the politics of the 2022, well, let me just ask you this. The fight against corruption, there was a promise by the President Kenyatta in his administration when he took over office in 2013, that he said that he was going to fight corruption, and that, of course, was going to form one of his major philosophy legacies by the end of his 10-year term. That is going to end in 2022, that is in 10 months' time. What do you think when the Pandora Papers, when we talk about the recent revelations of the offshore accounts worth billions of dollars hidden, do you believe this war of corruption is real, or is it just a scam?
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Eugene Kwach, for that question. So first of all, yes. Statistics are very important, yes. In any country and in any conversation. Mm-hmm. Statistics indicate mm-hmm. that in Africa, mm-hmm. Kenya included, mm-hmm. corruption kills more people than malaria, mm-hmm. than diabetes, mm-hmm. than all those other diseases combined. Okay. That is how serious it is. Mm-hmm. In Kenya, mm-hmm. President Uhuru Kenyatta told us that Kenya loses 2 billion Kenya shillings every day mm-hmm. to corruption. Okay. That means money that is supposed to take water to Turkana County mm-hmm. actually goes to people's pockets. Mm-hmm. You know, people are engaging in what I have called an eating competition. Okay. You know, who can amass more wealth mm-hmm. than who. And sadly, at the expense of the public. And so we have people in Turkana County, in Wajir, in North Horr, in Marsabit, in Elwak, everywhere in this country, mm-hmm. dying out of hunger. And speaking of hunger, mm-hmm. we are now experiencing the drought situation in the country. The hunger is already biting. Mm-hmm. And money is, you know, being stuffed in people's houses in Nairobi and other big towns. That is how serious corruption is. And I say this because, you know, sometimes you find Kenyans in the streets talking about corruption and speaking as if it is just, you know, an English word like any other. This is death. Okay. Corruption is a matter of life and death. Now, the problem with this country and the fight against corruption specifically is political dishonesty. Look at COVID-19. You have the president saying all political gatherings have been banned until further notice. Then the following day, the president and the former prime minister gather thousands of human beings in Kenyatta Stadium in Kisumu against all rules, against COVID-19 protocols, and against the presidential address. Now you have the president saying, I want to bring an end to corruption in my administration. I want to have people prosecuted. I don't want to see, the ministers and the heads of government departments, engaging in corruption under my watch, under my administration. All of a sudden, Pandora's papers.
Okay.
The International Committee of Investigative Journalists releasing lists of over 600 billionaires worldwide, including the Kenyatta family, who have billions back here at home and billions of US dollars offshores. So we have to be realistic. Are we lying to each other or we are speaking the truth to each other? Because if it is about speaking the truth and being honest about the war against corruption, the president should take the lead and lead by example. And he should be the last person mentioned on matters corruption as far as this country is concerned. Otherwise, the war against corruption will be, any other kids game, and it will come to an end.
Let me get this from Chabla. Chabla, the recent revelation from the Pandora Papers about the offshore investment by the Kenyatta family. What do you think about it? Does it taint the image of the Kenyatta as a president, and more so on his fight against corruption? Because as we know him, since 2013, he has said that, look, in my government, it will be a corruption-free zone. But in all these things, even we have seen of the Pandora Papers, does it give us another picture of the Kenyatta as a president? Or what do you think about it generally?
What I know is that Kenyatta family is a big family that has been in business for long.
Yes.
And if you check clearly, they own several businesses, multi-billion businesses. And I will not have a problem if they invest offshores. Since handshake, the president has tried fighting corruption, and I think he started by closing the betting sites. He came to Mercury Sugar, and we've seen even lately Wario, the sports CS, was jailed.
Yes.
That shows you that he's trying, and it shows also the goodness of handshake and the goodies that handshake has brought. The problem that we have in Kenya is big money politics. Everyone wants to be on top. And it's unfortunate that Ruto is playing the game well, and he wants to join the big family, forgetting that this family has been in business for long. And if you look at Kenyatta family and Odinga family, these were the first leaders in Kenya. And if it is in business, they've been in business.
Yes.
So Ruto wants to amass all the wealth to reach on top, and he even wants to surpass his masters.
Okay, leave alone the Ruto factor in this, like Pandora Papers, as we talk about it.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Pandora Papers.
Does it maybe tell, or do you want to say that it's because Ruto is talking about, is the person behind the Pandora Papers?
No, I was coming to that, the Pandora Papers. It's possible Uhuru might have invested offshores.
Yes.
Because of the business he has.
Yes.
Brings good money. And we cannot crucify him. We cannot crucify him because of that. That's normal. Even you, if you have such kind of money, you'll want to invest offshores.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so there's no problem with
There's no problem with that.
Yeah.
Let me get to Ekai Nabenyo. Ekai, well, seemingly, in the political landscape, every politician, the top contenders, most top contenders, they do not have like as a leader, integrity in the constitution is so much talked about. Integrity in the constitution, that is chapter 6, of how leaders should behave. Who is the messiah of Kenya in terms of corruption? You look at these top contenders, well, the 2022 presidential race, has been termed as a two-horse race. That is between Raila Amolo Odinga and Ruto, William Ruto, between the two, you look at them, who do you think that is more of a Caesar's type of personality to go for the, to be the Messiah? Yes.
Okay, first of all, before I answer that question,
Yes.
I think it would be good to put it on record
Yes.
that the Pandora's papers indicate that President Uhuru Kenyatta and other world billionaires are not investing money, outside the country. They are opening bank accounts in foreign countries and putting money there, not making investments or buying shares at Amazon or Alibaba or somewhere. No, they are not trading the cash. They are opening bank accounts and putting the money there because maybe they want to escape tax, tax evasion and tax avoidance and all that. And that is an illegality because actually the law as it is today is, as a state officer, for you to open a foreign bank account, you ought to obtain, approvals. So did Uhuru Kenyatta, the president, obtain those approvals? Did the Kenyatta family obtain those approvals? Only if those questions are answered in the affirmative is when we can say, oh, maybe the president was on the right. And I was a bit surprised with the response by the president when he said that, oh, I am in Addis Ababa going to the Americas, and it is good that this list has come out because it will. He was almost saying it will open a Pandora's box on other people who have stashed and put money offshores, which to me is a confession of an illegality because I don't know, I am not sure if I read that statement correctly, but the president said that he will respond comprehensively when he comes back home, but as he speaks then, he's happy that the list is out and that that list will help to unearth the Kenyans who have had bank accounts offshores, which to me was a bit out of the mark. Now, to your question.
Yes.
There's no messiah in Kenyan politics. The question you should be asking is, which of the two devils is a better devil? Which has been my argument with everybody.
Yes.
My argument is, in my view, it appears to me that William Ruto appears to be a devil, and Raila Amolo Odinga appears to be a devil, but putting them on a weighing scale, to me, William Ruto appears to be a better devil. Looking at his track record, looking at his... when William Ruto was the Minister for Higher Education in this country, in fact, William Ruto rescued me from wasting 2 years at the university. I finished my high school in 2009 when Ruto was appointed the Minister for Higher Education. And then by 2010, I was already joining University of Nairobi School of Law. I couldn't wait for the 2 years because William Ruto, the Minister for Higher Education, has bridged the gap between high school and the university. And then all these colleges, I don't know what college.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Ikai.
Yes.
Let me now get a quick rejoinder from you. 20 seconds. Who is the better devil? He talks about, but let us not talk about a messiah. Let's talk about devil. Who is the better devil between the top contenders in the politics of Kenya?
You know, in my life, the first time I knew Ruto was through the maize scandal. When he was in the docket of agriculture. That was it coalition government?
Yes.
So, and if you look keenly, Raila has been with the people, and that's why he was even sworn in as people's president in 2017. Ruto is just copying what Raila did a long time ago, standing with the people. And I know he's not taking it the right way because it's creating a rift between the rich and the poor, which is also very wrong.
Okay.
Ruto should just be honest and say that I know I'm corrupt, and we also promised our people laptops. Kimwarer Dam has not been done, and everything. And Raila, if you look keenly, Raila has never been connected to any corruption in Kenya. Zero record.
Okay, let me get it from
Can I respond to that very quickly? First of all,
2 seconds.
It will be a lie to say that you knew Ruto through the maize scandal because
I'm sincere.
The Grand Coalition government was as a result of a campaign which was done in 2007, 2008, in which Ruto was, was a member of the Pentagon.
Okay.
And they traversed the country.
Gentlemen.
If you are sincere to yourself, you should have said that
Yes.
you saw Ruto during the campaigns supporting Raila.
Okay.
And then, after the war, in 2007, 2008,
Yes.
he was given the Minister for Agriculture position, and then there was a scandal in the ministry. So
That's you. I'm saying where...
You can't have been asleep and then you
Gentlemen,
woke up.
let us now let us shift focus to the topic of today.
Yes.
Well, 2019 census revealed 75% of Kenya's populations as the youth from age of 15 to 35 years. That is around 30 million. Because of this, they become the target of every political party, politician. What should they do to be part of the country's political agenda and be part of a conversation that affects the future of this nation? Generally, what is the place of the youth in the politics of this country, even as we're heading towards 2022? Mr. Ekai.
Yes. So first of all, those are very true statistics.
Yes.
A majority of the Kenyan population are youth, young people. That is why when I declared intentions to vie, I knew I will win because the arithmetic itself is already on my side because I'm a young person, and majority of the Kenyan populace are young people, and therefore, since I'm vying against people who are not young people,
yes,
maybe if the voting was to take that pattern of old versus young, I would be sworn in by 9 a.m. because 75%, 30 million out of 47 are young people. Number two, I have had the privilege of traveling this world, whether in Americas, Europe, West Africa, where. I have never seen a country where young people are so industrious, very hardworking, very innovative, very, 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 very creative. Kenya is a country that is so blessed with talent. And you can never know that until you get out of Kenya for a month or two, come back home. When you get out of that flight, and then you're like, oh, I'm back home. That, you see Kenyans on the highway, in the traffic selling groundnuts and handkerchiefs and all that, very industrious people. You go to countries like Tanzania, where I have had the privilege of doing my master's at the University of Dar es Salaam. I mean, you go to a banking hall at 9 a.m. at Milimani City, the bank is still under lock and key. In Kenya, by 4 a.m., you find Kenyans walking in the streets. So my point is, the place of young people in the governance of this country has been not really as promising as such. Young people have been used to wage violence against communities. They have been used to dish bribes to, places which are deemed to be the opponents' strongholds. The Kenyan youth have never been, utilized, and their power has been wasted. In my view, the place of young people in the governance of this country is, instead of making noise outside the fence and criticizing government and leaders and saying, oh, this was they have wasted us, roll your sleeves, get to the field, change the system from inside. And myself as a Kai, I have always said, I have spent the whole of my adult life fighting governments, criticizing and writing articles in newspapers.
Let me get it from Jabla. Jabla, what is the place of the youth in the Kenyan government, or even in the politics? We're heading towards 2022. And actually, the youth is the most, that's 75%. That forms the majority. We look at the youth. Are there even those people who, some of the youth, there are some things that have been indoctrinated to them, that politics is a dirty game. Some do not even understand the importance of voting. Some do not want to involve themselves even in vying itself. The youths are not educated. Some do not understand generally their impotence in politics. What do you think about all these things? And as we're heading towards 2022, my question is, what is the place of the youth in the Kenyan politics?
It starts with the confidence that the past regimes have created in the youths.
Yes.
If you look keenly, also, you can see that most of even the board directors are being recycled from the old men who are in other governments. So the youths are demoralized. What can we do for the country? We don't have a place in the country. It's upon the leadership, the regime that will come, let's say in 2022, or the current regime, to give youths the hope. Youths don't have hope. That's why most of the youths are not involved in politics. They are being taken for a ride through handouts. And most of our politicians, those who will succeed in 2022, some of them and nearly most of them will succeed because the youths depend on handouts.
Okay.
They don't have something to do. They don't have work. There is no employment.
Okay.
They are not empowered. So it will force them to take the handouts.
Okay.
Once the leaders know the value of the youths, they'll empower them through good policies that give youths employment, not through handouts. I think that would make a
Okay,
a good
well,
future.
Mr. Kai, Mr. Chabla says that youths depend on handouts. You say that because what gives you, what motivates you, what gives you confidence towards 2022, towards your drive for becoming the member of county assembly, is because 75% of the youth, of the population, are the youth. Well, you as a youth, or many youths outside there, perhaps there might be an issue with funds, maybe funding, maybe the campaigns or doing this. Do you think the nature of our politics do allow the youths themselves to vie and maybe hold campaigns, even for to get funds for the campaign? Do you think the nature of politics is favorable for the youth? And what can we do to ensure that the nature of politics can favor the youth, even if they do not have money, but they have ideas?
Okay, so for a very long time, young people have been used, to dish out handouts, and actually, in addition to dishing out handouts,
Yes.
them being the recipients of the handouts.
Okay.
So, in my own view, the young people have been used to create violence, to dish out handouts, to do corruption, to beat up opponents, or to, get machetes and go and slash people. But now, when they see one of their own actually being on the race, and trying to say, oh, by the way, I am your guy, I am your ambassador, that changes the conversation. And where I come from in Turkana, the narrative has always been, oh, it is the old men who ought to lead the people. But there are stories of young people who have held leadership positions, and they have done amazing work. And we have these stories even from Meru County. We have the youngest member of parliament from Meru County, a guy who went to the politics, vied without any vehicle, without any tuk-tuk or boda-boda, and he was elected by the people. That is the message that ought to reverberate across the nation, that you don't need to be a big guy, an old man, for you to dish handouts. You can also dish, if the rules of the game demand that you dish out handouts, then even we as young people can also dish out handouts. I mean, the handout business is not a reserve of the old men only.
So actually, to you, handouts is okay.
I'm not saying it's okay. If the rules of the game demand
Okay.
that for you to be elected, you must dish out handouts, then we as young people are also prepared to play by the rules.
Now, my question is,
Yes.
If the rule of the game requires the youth to dish out handouts,
Yes.
the youths have not worked so long in the public offices or maybe somewhere else, or maybe do not have businesses that could maybe help them to have those money, to have the money to dish out as handouts.
Yes.
How can we maybe ease the game to make the game a bit easier for the young people? How can we make it more conducive for the young people? Let me talk with you, Chabala.
You know, the conversation of the old and the young
Yes.
cannot come again in 2022. We had the same in 2017 when Ruto merged with Uhuru. They came, we are the young men, the digital. But look at where we are now.
Okay.
If you compare it with the Kibaki, I think this is the worst regime we've ever had in the history of Kenya.
Okay.
So in 2022, we want the conversation to be on policies. We want to make our institutions work, education system, and everything. Not about age, because we've proved that before. It has not worked. Yeah, so I don't think that will be a conversation.
Mr. Kai, Collins is saying that the voter of 2017 is not the is not the youth voter of 2022. What is the difference?
I agree with Collins 100%. In fact, I dare say that the politics of 2022 at the national level, county level, at the world level, it will be a different conversation.
Okay.
In fact, I dare say, to the credit of one guy, William Samoei Ruto, who said we want to change the conversation in this country. And instead of Tibi Mentalala and all these, soundbite solutions to big issues, we want to have a discussion about our economy. How can we ensure that young people get jobs?
Okay.
How can we ensure that our politics is not the handout politics, but a politics based on issues? And do you know, my experience in the political field for the last 9 months has been, because I began in January. That's when I, rolled my sleeves, got into the field. My experience has been, you can actually change the conversation. And instead of handouts, which is the rules of the game, the rules of the game demand that you bribe voters. Otherwise, you will be labeled a miser or the guy who doesn't give out money, and you are likely to be voted out. The rules of the game demand so. But the conversation is changing. Thanks to the entry of new entrants into the race. There are young people who are vying. There are professionals who are vying. Some people with PhDs and who are doctors and all that coming to the scene. We are trying to sanitize the political scene and then changing the conversation and having a new, a brand new style of politics in the country. Instead of relying on handouts, we are trying to tell young people that actually the money that you ought to receive is the money that is supposed to be for education, for security, for roads. This 50 bob and 100 bob is only buying your way into poverty. Because the moment I buy my way into leadership, the first thing I will do is to make sure that I recoup all the money I use in the campaigns, which is really sad because I want, after swearing in, the first business is to get into leading the people and showing them the way, as I promised them in the campaigns. But if it's about recouping my money, or I use 100 million to buy votes, which is actually very true because you actually bought votes, that person will waste 3 years recouping his money, and then before you know it, the next election is knocking on the door.
Let me get this from College Chabala. Chabala, you get both of you are in agreement, are an affirmative that the voting system, or even the politics of 2017, is quite different from that which we are yet to face in the 2022. Well, Mr. Ekai says that Ruto has changed the conversation in the political landscape. What do you think about that as a conversation? As Kenya maybe stopped talking about tribes, as have they stopped talking or dividing themselves into tribal cocoons, and now they talk on issue based. And how does this affect the youth?
Without being redundant like my friend Kai, I'm happy that the dream that Raila had before is now coming true. Now people can talk on what are we going to do to the people. Raila has been fighting for this for many years. We want real politics and real change for the people. So you can't say that Ruto has now changed the narrative, yet he's the one still spearheading handout giving in different places. He went to Makueni. He left almost 3 million. Where does he get?
Generally, if you leave alone the top contenders, do you think that the conversation itself has changed?
Yeah, the conversation has changed because right now people are talking on policies. The tribe issue has been minimal. I guess it's because Central has no strong candidate. In my view, I don't want to be seen tribal in this, but Kenyan politics has been tribal for some time.
For a very long time.
Central Kenya, sadly, they have been the co-champions of tribalism, if I be honest. And because they don't have a strong candidate, the conversation has changed, and everyone now wants to talk on policies. What are we going to do to the people? Not like before when these people wanted to divide and rule. Create kingpin here, create another one here, then you pick Musalia, Kalonzo, and you...
How does this affect the youth? How does it affect the youth?
The youths now...
And how maybe can the youth use this to their advantage?
The problem also with the youths is that they are not active in politics. Most of our youths take part in things that are not of national interest. Some have become drug addicts. Just a few percentage understand what's happening in Kenya.
Okay.
So that's also a major problem that we need to address. People need to be enlightened. Our youths need to be talked to and told that we need to know what is happening in our country. How are we changing the conversation? Should we just sit and watch what is happening?
Okay.
Yes, I think.
Okay, there is a conversation that we are coming to. Carlos Chabla is talking about civic education.
Yeah.
And we are coming back to that, even as the IEBC is trying to get new, to register new voters. Of course, around 8 million, and most of them probably will be youths. Well, let's take a short break. When we'll be right back, we'll talk and have more to say.
Zim-salabim, zim-zim-salabim, zim-zim-salabim, zim-zim. Zim-salabim, zim-zim-salabim, zim-zim. We padam, padam, padam.
Hello, Mambo Vipi man, it's your boy Ben C and you can call me the True Ninja. I'd like to invite you on an amazing show that will be happening each and every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 8:30 and the repeat on Sunday, each and every Sunday from 1 p.m. So make sure you join us for the GBS Art Club for an amazing show. Usikose.
Everywhere GBS.
Well, welcome back to the Insight. Of course, I'm having a candid conversation here with my panelists, and of course, we are asking a question about civic education. Mr. Chabla is talking and saying that the youth of today lack civic education. Mr. Ekai, do you think who should actually provide this civic education to ensure that the youth are actually involved in all these, in politics, that they understand that these all indoctrinations or these presumptions about the dirty politics of Kenya is no longer there? Who should be involved? And you as a politician, as a young politician, what are you actually doing to ensure that the youth of your area know and understand that politics is not as dirty as it is, and actually they should involve themselves in politics?
Yeah, maybe I should begin with the last part of the question, which is what I'm doing. So as a young politician myself, it's my first time to engage in politics. And I have made it, you know, I have taken a vow myself to say that I will do and engage in very clean politics. No name calling, no, you know, no violence, no rumors and innuendos and insulting opponents. My campaign is so clean as an example, because I tell young people, my opponent will come, he will speak to you, listen to him, and put the two of us or the three of us on a weighing scale. If you think I will lead you properly in the county assembly and make laws for you and represent you and oversight projects on your behalf, vote for me. If you think I'm not qualified, why would you waste a whole ward of over 20,000 people because of one guy called Ekai? So it begins with the people in the political arena themselves playing clean politics and avoiding all the dirty politics and inciting people and all that. So leading by example, I do that, and that is the part I play as a politician. Number two, on your second question, we need a multi-agency operation to do civic education to young people and tell them what their role is in governance and in politics. So we need the IEBC to be involved. We need government to be involved, the relevant government departments, including the Ministry of Youth and ICT. We need even the current crop of leaders whom we want to phase out. We also need them to appreciate the fact that the conversation is changing and the future of leadership in Africa is young. I mean, it is youthful leadership that is taking over Africa. Look at Museveni and Bobby Wine. Look at, America and Obama, a young guy against all those. So we need a multi-agency operation. Not a reserve of the IBC, not a reserve of the presidency, not a reserve of us, the young politicians. It is everybody. We need the civil society, the private sector. We need the politicians. We need all citizens to embrace this conversation and have young people engage in politics, at least constructively, because statistics indicate that when young people are given a chance to participate in governance, they always do so very well, and they avoid these bad things such as early pregnancies and school dropouts and criminal activities. And in the place where I come from, for instance, organizing raids against other communities, that becomes a thing of the past because there are people constantly reminding the young people to participate in governance. And there is this wrong perception that politics is a dirty game. Okay. It's a bad blood game, yes, which is really an allegation that we ought to demystify as politicians, because politics is good. It's only the players sometimes who breach the rules and try to ratify the game.
Okay, let me ask this to Collins Chabla. IBC has launched a 30-day voter registration drive targeting close to 8 million voters, of which we believe that most of them, the consequential bloc involved, that is the youth. Do you, in your own perspective, think that the IBC or the political parties or even the stakeholders are doing enough to educate the youth on the importance of involving themselves in politics?
I think that the IBC is doing its mandate.
Okay.
But now the buck stops with the leaders. What are they doing to educate the youths on the importance of getting involved in matters that pertain to national development? Most of our youths are not enlightened on matters politics. And that has created a lot of problem, yes, because these politicians, and politics in Kenya has become a do or die. It's a death thing. Somebody goes like he is going to, he can even kill his opponent. Okay. It's a do or die thing. So if it's a do or die thing, they find it very easy to use the youths. When the politics comes, they use the youths, but after they've gotten the seats, they dump them. Okay. That's where we have to start from. Are we going to tell the youth the truth that we need to take the steps that make the country go forward? What are we going to do? What role should we play as the youth? What areas should we tell the government that we need change in this area and this area, so that our efforts can also be appreciated? Like the employment. Are we being given employment? Is the government doing the right thing to give us the employment? No, it's not doing the right thing. There are no policies that have been placed to create those opportunities. It's all about corruption. And the money that the government is losing in corruption is close to even 10 million jobs in a year. Okay.
Let me ask this to you, sir. Well, Kenya is facing an employment crisis, a debt leadership crisis. What is going to be the role of the youth in setting the agenda of the country even as we're moving towards 2022? We have agreed that 2017 and 2022, the politics are completely different. As we're heading towards 2022, how are the youths going to help in the setting the agenda for the country?
So first of all, young people have been spectators in the political arena. So they either go there to cheer or to jeer, depending on, whether the guy is good or bad, in their opinion.
Yes.
One magical bullet, young people must and should engage in politics, at least in 2022. If a young person feels like they have the power to lead and they have the muscles to lead, come to the politics, get a political party or vie independent, go there, get to the assembly, work for the people, go to parliament, work for the people, go to let's engage in politics as young people, actively, directly, and also indirectly. Indirectly by, for instance, supporting a youthful candidate and campaigning for him, and for him or her, and mobilizing voters to come and register, because you may love me as a guy, but if you don't have a voter's card, you are as useless as any other thing out there. You must register to vote as a voter. That is the role of young people. We must actively engage in politics. Because the game has been that we go there, we clap for politicians, they give us money, they give us machetes, we go and slash people. This time around, we want to change that narrative. And instead of cheering and jeering, we are actually in the arena of politics and playing it directly. And I am taking the lead as a young person in Turkana County by getting myself to the field as a young person.
So actually, from where you sit, are other stakeholders, the IEBC, the government, ready for the civic education to the youth, to make them understand how consequential they are, even as we are getting towards 2022 elections?
We don't need to wait for anybody to tell us that we need to vie. I mean, the law is very clear. For you to be an MCA or a member of parliament.
But there's youth who do not want to get involved in politics at all, because they believe it has always been an indoctrination, if I can call it,
yes,
within them, that politics is a dirty game, that actually the leadership, the next leadership of the 2022 has already predetermined. The results are already predetermined. How would you go and talk to such a people and tell them that, no, we still need to sanitize our politics, or we need you to come on board so that we can do something together?
So first of all, it will be a miracle to expect an old man who is in the current system, political system, to come and tell young people, oh, by the way, we want you guys to vie. Never. Don't expect that. That will be 1 in a million. Don't expect that. Number two, a conversation begins. Young people meeting in a livestock, sale yard, beginning a conversation. They meet in, some mentorship program in some school, and then they are like, oh, by the way, why can't we change the current system and get one of our own in politics? So the moment young people begin those conversations, that is where aspirations, usually come from. Like for myself, I was asked by the young people in my area, by the way, we feel that you have leadership qualities and you can represent our region in the assembly. Why can't you vie? Okay. There is no old person in the system who came and told me, by the way, Kai, you look like a leader, you should vie, because they will never allow you to be in the system. They have always wanted young people to be, subjugated down there. They are treating us as third-class citizens. Our job is to cheer and jeer and clap for them. So it is a conversation that ought to be started by young people themselves. Otherwise, we will wait until the second coming of Christ if we want the old man to tell us that. And I was very surprised. Yes. As a politician myself, I heard about the IEBC mass voter registration on the media. I saw it on Facebook, on Twitter, somewhere in the news, one soundbite. And then all of a sudden, boom, the voters have been, the kits have been distributed all over the country. There has been no, leave alone educating the young people to participate in governance and politics. Yes. There has been no sensitization of the voters that an exercise called the voter registration is coming. They just brought the kits. IEBC has failed in their mandate. They have a mandate together with their stakeholders and other partners to educate the masses. Let there be mass voter education, maybe even 2 months before the actual voter drive begins. Okay. Because now, I was speaking to a lady yesterday who has been hired by IEBC to go to a particular polling station in Turkana Central to carry out the voter registration. Yes. And she was calling me and telling me the people in this village are almost chasing her away because they are saying they have no idea that the government is rolling out such an exercise. So you are an imposter. Okay. So she was almost being beaten up, and she called me, and I had to call the people and tell them those guys have been sent by IEBC. Okay. That is a big mistake in my view.
Chabla, what do you think?
Yeah, I also support what he is saying, because there is that lack of sensitization. Although we also blame it on the youths because they've not taken up by themselves to rally each other on this matter of voter registration. But as active politicians, I know we are going to take it to task. And even me on Monday, I'll be on the ground to tell the people to take votes.
Okay.
More so the new registration, the new voters who are going to be registered.
Saikai was talking about social media changing the game of politics because it's there on social media everywhere, on all platforms. Do you think that the youth are using this to their advantage, actually?
In the age of information, like we are now, we can't neglect the value of using social media to pass information. If you look at the statistics, almost 70% of the youths are active in social media. So that's one platform that the IEBC must use to reach the young people, because they are the most targeted in this registration.
What about the youth themselves? Are they using the social media for their benefit? What do you think?
That is the problem that we have, because most of the youths are not engaged in national interest. They are not interested in what is happening in their country. All they are interested about is their social lives. They don't take part in what happens in like now. Even right now, you won't find a youth sharing the registration going on now. All they will share is their social lives. So that's also another challenge that we have, that the youths should work on.
How can we change all these conversations, Mr. Ikai? Because it seems that the youth do not care, but there's still a problem actually amongst the youth. So what is actually, according to you, what is the major problem? Why they seem not involved? Why they do not want to get themselves involved actively in the politics? And also, now, what is the solution to this?
So first of all, we will be lying to ourselves if we expect some big bang theory, you know, like boom, all of a sudden, young people are now using social media. It takes a process, you know, bit by bit. We will get there, no worry, bit by bit. And all of you, I dare say all of you must be in some WhatsApp political group of some guy or of some burial or something. You find young people, a guy is typing from 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. the following day, non-stop, insulting this leader, insulting this guy who supports the other leader, and abuse of social media. And in my view, young people can use social media to their benefit. Do you know, I know of young people in Turkana who are being trained by a startup called Startup Lions, which is an ICT kind of firm. And they train young people on coding and software development, and these people are connected, you know, to clients across the world. From a village called Loropio in Turkana Central, they get clients in Texas, in California, in Russia, everywhere. Young people can use social media very well for their own benefit. But if it's about insulting people in, you know, in WhatsApp groups and, you know, typing and insulting and sharing and forwarding everything, we will have ourselves to blame, but young people may never make it in politics if their business is reducing themselves to keyboard activists and keyboard warriors. They have to get offline, get to the field. Like, instead of, I see people sharing, oh, come out and vote, you know, mass voter registration and all those things. But, you know, in my view, especially in a context like mine in Turkana, in a rural context, you can't really rely so much on social media. So you have to get offline, get to your car or your motorbike, get to the forgotten corners of the ward and the village, and talk to the old men and tell them, go and vote. Actually, if possible, ferry some of them to the site where the officer is doing the IEBC thing. Have them registered, take them back home. That way, you help facilitate the process, because you are a stakeholder, you are a Kenyan citizen, you are a politician, you are a leader, you have a role to play in making sure these people have been, you know, their voices are heard in national conversations. Otherwise, if they don't register, they will just stay there in Turkana. You know, they have no idea what's happening in Nairobi. They have no idea who is the president, and then that life will not be really good. So as a leader, I believe I have a duty to make sure that I facilitate, in addition to posting on social media and sharing on WhatsApp, get offline, go to the field, go to the villages, talk to the people in their homes, in livestock sale yards, in watering points, in marriage ceremonies, initiation ceremonies. Tell them to go and register as a voter. And explain to them why that is important, because we live in a society whereby politics has been so satanized. It appears to be a bad thing. Like when I was declaring my intentions to vote, people were like, "Kai, are you crazy? Like politics? You are a cool guy." I'm like, but I really want to help the people. I feel like all the money I want to use to help the people is in politics. 3 trillion Kenyan money is controlled by a guy called Uhuru Kenyatta. You like it, you don't like it. That is the reality. The money sent to the Turkana County government is controlled by our governor. Same to Uasin Gishu, Nairobi, everywhere. If you have the heart to help the people, the right place is in politics.
Okay.
You get the good guys in the system, change the system from within. That way you help the people. And we've had a track record of doing this community development as private citizens. What will make us to change when we become leaders? Nothing.
Okay, Mr. Chabla, do you believe that all the youths involving themselves in the politics also have the same mission as his, that they are entering into politics because they want to help the people? Do you believe that is why, that is the same reason why everyone wants to get into politics?
That one depends on your personality, because according to me, most of the youths enter into politics because of the money that, according to him, I heard him, because of the money that the politicians have. You want to get rich so that you...
No, out of context. I'm saying the Kenyan money, 3 trillion every year, is controlled by a guy called Uhuru Kenyatta. If he decides that the defense will get 600 billion and the youth empowerment will get 1 million, that will pass because he's the president.
Chabala, what makes you want to get into politics?
I told you earlier that servant leadership is what we lack in most of these areas. Like in our place, I feel that as a servant leader, I would want to do more that the previous people have never done. That's what I've been focusing on.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We are ending this conversation right now, but I'd love you to take maybe some minutes in engaging the audience back at home. You tell us your closing remarks. I'll start with you, Mr. Kaina Benyo.
Yes, to my dear voters and constituents in Kerio Delta Ward in Turkana County. First of all, I offer myself to be a leader because I believe that young people have a duty to play in contributing to community development and in governance. Instead of making noise as we've done, we've always criticized government and fighting government and saying, oh, the governor ought to do this, the county assembly ought to enact this particular law. We now want to get into the field and help the people. That is why I'm saying the money that we receive as a county, the money that we have as a nation is controlled by politicians. But the only thing which has been lacking is that it's only the bad guys who have been in the system for far too long. We want servant leadership. We want people who understand what it means to be a leader and what it means to lead, a population. And that is in the duty of lawmaking, going to parliament and making laws for the people. That involves oversight. Instead of having, projects scattered all over the world, scattered all over the constituency, your duty as a leader, my duty as a leader is to show people the way and to do the oversight. If, for instance, a project has been approved by the county assembly, which is charged with the responsibility of budget making, and that project has been paid for fully, 100%, the contractor has received the money, there is no reason why the other financial year will begin without that project being completed, because it's paid for 100%. That is the job of a member of the county assembly, oversight. You oversight on behalf of the people. And lastly, representation. It is the job of a member of the county assembly to represent the people. When you speak as a Kai in the county assembly, it is the word which has spoken. But the point is, are you speaking sense or you are speaking nonsense? And I believe with the track record I have had as a leader, a youth leader, contributing to national development and community development, as a private citizen, I believe that getting the platform and the resources that are meant to spur development in Turkana County, in Kerio Delta Horde, and in Kenya by extension, we are going to turn around the narrative that has been the sad stories about Turkana County in a manner you will never believe. And it is possible because there are stories of people who have gone into leadership and changed their communities for the better. We've heard stories of young people, even in Kenya. I dare say we had, the late Ken Okoth in Kibra, who was doing amazing work. We have Jicho Pevo right now in Nyali doing amazing work. We have all these leaders who are doing amazing work, not because they got some money from some heaven, but because they have the initiative. They have taken the initiative to lead the people, show them the way, and change the narrative of the negativity about politics in this country. That is my message, and I hope we will have good campaigns in 2022 and hopefully get to Parliament and actualize our dreams. Thank you.
Mr. Collins.
I want to talk categorically to the people of Homa Bay County. You know how this regime, the current regime, has done poorly in matters development. In fact, it was the county that was rated number last in development. Now, when we are going to 2022, we hope that the electorates, and more so our youths that form the bigger population, to wake up. Let's look at a leader who can work for the people, a servant leader who knows where the problem is and how to solve the problem. Let's not be told that this is the person we are giving the certificate, then we just rally behind him blindly. If it is a matter of leadership, let's choose the person who can change everything, even if it is a matter of going with an independent person. Then to our ward level, Kakelo Kokwanyo, as you have always called me Chebukati because I stand at the center of everything in the society, we hope that we are going to move forward and the development dreams that we hold will always be met. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for honoring this invite for this show tonight. And to our esteemed audience who are back at home, well, we're coming to the end of this show tonight. On behalf of everyone, the technical team and everyone else who has made this a success, well, you have a good night, and it's my birthday. For those who have wished me a good birthday, a happy birthday, well, I'm grateful, and so you have a good night. See you next Friday. My name is Eugene Kwach.